Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. You might notice a sudden influx of Sabbath reports all at once. Well, that had something to do with screw tubes screwing around with the settings to people. Well, I found a way around it, and I won't go into any more depth about all that. But to catch up with all the different things I've done this week, first and foremost, it's most evident, is I put in some new lights. And yes, I am aware the camera is not focusing properly right now, and it may be a permanent problem that will plague me forever with this camera now, because I don't think you can afford to fix this thing for as much cheaper it is to buy a new camera. Alright, so one thing I definitely got done was I put up lights in here. And if you look, I got this, what I did is I took a 50-foot extension cord I bought some years ago that had little lights on it, and replaced the little lights with just common outlets. And if you follow, it's just a second-hand used cord tied down to a power supply to a LED board. Same thing over here. Okay, there's 5 up here. I have 4 more. If this goes out, I'll end up having to do something about that one. But I've got 4 more lights, and I'm going to probably put them in here. See, I've got this, where's the outlet right there, and then I've got another one up there. You can't really see because it's attached to the pillar, and it's up above, so it's really not something I can, certainly since I can't focus this thing, yeah, there's no way I can show it to you with this camera short of climbing up there, and I'm not going to try to climb up there. So yeah, this thing is not focusing properly anymore, so there's no way I can show you a lot of things that it would otherwise show you. The quality, even though I've increased the what do you call it? It's a common thing. Resolution. Yeah, I wanted to say residency. Even though I increased the resolution, it still doesn't fix the focus problem. Now, on to other things that have happened. I had an expert come out here from a local electrical company, and since I haven't gotten permission to mention them, I'm not going to, but they determined that the motor had been hit by lightning. So it's in another town getting rewound. The field had a short, and that's potentially what caused this whole thing come apart. And then when I come back with it, I will have them reinstall it to make certain it's all where it needs to be. Other than that, one slightly less obvious thing might be is that I've been cleaning and organizing in here. Remember that barrel was in front of that container and that shelf was outside empty. Well, I've got it in here and I'm cleaning up and organizing the place, and so that's just the chip barrel. A lot of scrap metal in it. That fan came from the greenhouse. Some of these tools came from the greenhouse too, so they're down here. My brother was over and verified that his wire feed welder works, and I was afraid it wouldn't, but it does, and so I will be using it. I brought in a big portion of my steel stock, those used bed frames I get from thrift stores. That's only about half of it, several hundred pounds, and I get it for pretty cheap. And I try every month to get it as quickly as I can before anybody else does. So that's pretty much all the things going on in the shop proper at the present. Now, because I had to unload the motor, load it onto a truck, wasn't going to walk it there in my pocket. My brother's jack stand is out here. I very carefully made a point of greasing the shaft because it's been raining, so that rain wouldn't get on that. Also, I brought over the 3-wheeler because I've used that little cart here. It was better than trying to drag it on the ground, but not by much. So what I'm going to do, or try to do, is I'm going to try to load the motor on this 3-wheel cart. I may have to move some more things, because all I have to do is, and it's pretty nimble, get it in here, face it up against the door, and the engine hoist will be in here. So I'll take the engine hoist, back the truck up, lift the motor, then pull the truck forward, take the 3-wheeler, pull it in front of the engine hoist here, load the motor on the engine hoist, so that 3-wheeler will be driven in here. Then once it's lowered on there, then I'll take the engine hoist and drag it back in the shop by the front door. Then I'll take the 3-wheeler with the motor. Sorry. And from that point right in there, I'll just take it on the engine hoist back into the corner where it normally goes, and then I'll have the guy from the electric company reinstall it. Now, that scrap metal I got, sheet metal, see, this is that little lid thing I had ranged up for my baby goats. Well, the one I had was made out of poorly constructed wood, and they proceeded to rapidly tear it apart, and even had it flipped over on its side, almost completely on its top. So we'll build the other one out of steel and put some cement blocks in it to weigh it down so they can't flip it over anymore. While I'm here, I'll kind of give a little pan of the flowers. I don't know that I'll get too deeply into flowers today, not because I don't care, but because I'm kind of in a hurry to get this one done. So these little sunflowers are almost done for the year. Very few of them are still blooming proportionally. The big ones are already done. I say proportionally to how many there were before, I suppose. I don't know, some of them are looking pretty good. The goldenrod, let me see if I can get up close to the goldenrod. This little batch up here looks really nice. Ow, 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 scratchy. I've got scars all over my legs from walking through this stuff. So the goldenrod up here looks really good. It's got wasps and bugs on it. Nice little cluster goldenrod going on there. Very pretty stuff. And I don't want to get close because there's bugs on it. Not to mention the fact that the more I climb, the more I slip and fall, the more I hurt myself. So, and then of course the Lespedeza is still flowering. Very unimpressive, I realize, but it's a flower all the same. So let me go over here. My seasonal onions are seasonally coming and going. Yeah, this one little sunflower here that's doing, oh, there's a snake right there. I guess it's a bull snake, or, yeah, a little snake going through there. Okay, no big deal. So those are some, I forget what they are. I saw the name of them the other day. It's not yellow-eyed Susans, but it's part of the sunflower family. This one here, because I could get up close to it and I don't see a wasp on it. Still doing pretty good. Very pretty, very showy. The bearded something or another over there. Of course, here's some wax weed. The white stuff is something bearded. I've already forgotten. Tripping over that tiller. I'm really bad. No, this isn't the bearded stuff. This is something else. It may or may not be related, but it's, yeah, the bearded stuff's the one, the broadleaf stuff that the blister beetles like. And I saw this stuff listed too. Again, I don't know what it's called, even though, and of course these little pink flowers are coming along. Even though they showed the name, I've already forgotten. And they're doing pretty good at this point in the year. Nice, pretty flowers. So these little hooligans here, yes, Papa Bear. I've been in here now for a month and a half, roughly. I actually don't remember, to be honest with you. And despite the fact that I had a really rough time moving this kid, he's totally no longer afraid of me again, just like he was before. Now, because their little grain thingy here doesn't have a top on it, it got rained in last night, and therefore there's rain in the grain, not in Spain or on the plane. And then they tipped the box out that I have to use to get their grain. I dropped it in there so that it'd stay dry, but they just decided to knock it out anyway. He's just Chinese over. Papa Bear. I will put some more hay in here. I did get this thing kind of fastened a little better so that they don't knock it off so thoroughly and quickly. Here's your Papa Bear. Here's your Papa Bear. Here's your Papa Bear. You're going to try to eat my fingers? No? Good. No. And then Jumpy Jeff, he's still really shy. Yeah, Jumpy Jeff. Here's your Papa Bear. Here's your Papa Bear. What are you doing? Trying to get out, aren't you? Trying to get out, aren't you? Yes, you little hooligan. Anyhow, so these little boys are over here safely protected from the destructive forces of the big beasts that have moved into our property. And since I don't really have anything else over here, let me make my way back towards the house where more things are going. But I'm going to go through here again because there's more of them little pink flowers. And just kind of go by the celery plant, see how it's doing. It seems to be pretty happy at the moment, and I'll circle around the barn so we can take a look at the avocado trees. I've gained more super gene hematite, but at this point it's not enough that you could say, oh wow, look at the difference kind of deal. So I didn't figure it'd be worth mentioning that much. Oh yeah, the asters are out too. The little bitty asters. They'll be in fairly full bloom here. They're kind of more slow blooming rather than they don't explode out. They just kind of trickle out. But then they come in like 3 different colors: a light powdery violet, and a light powdery pink, and then white. Alright, so this is the current state of the celery plant. It's maybe 2 feet tall, something like that. But theoretically, when it's in its second year, it'll grow up to 8 feet tall and be covered with flowers. So I'm pretty excited to see that happen. Now I don't know about where I'll put it over the winter. Some people say it won't survive over winter, but I've had them survive on me over winter. Hit and miss. This is the bearded stuff. This is the stuff they said is bearded. And again, this is what the blister beetles were eating. Other than that, there's other little weed plants, and then there's ragweed flowering. I know, who knows, ragweed's pollen everywhere. Yeah, it is. What am I going to do? That doesn't seem to bother me very much, actually. It's the mold and stuff like that that bothers me mostly. But, again, the repotting of the pineapples seems to make them happy. This is funny. This is a root growing off of an avocado seed. It doesn't have a top, but it's got a root. And from what I can tell, it's still growing. I don't know how well that'll last, seeing as it doesn't have any leaves. It can't last forever. Maybe it'll still come up with a top. Over here, this one hopefully is recovering. I don't know even what topped it off. So I've lost several. They just died. Drought, heat, I don't know. Something killed them. Could be the fact that they might be sensitive to the walnut toxin. I don't know. The little pink flags down there, I did spray that area for poison ivy. It took forever. I thought I'd have to spray it again, but it did die, so I got rid of the poison ivy. And there's a few more asters there. In here, they're all over. Nice, tenacious little asparagus, still alive, but not doing much. Maybe someday I'll get to the point where I can pick the cherries off of there. Who knows? The normal ironweed has fully done its thing. It's completely finished blooming, but the other weed that looks like an ironweed, or flower, is still doing pretty good on blooming right now. So we'll go to see it here in a moment. The tomato vine looks terrible, but it's still growing. I know everybody says prune them. Huh? I might prune it. It's got one tiny little tomato right there at the moment. It had another tomato over here that's already ripened, and it also had gotten bug bitten. So I'll probably just cut those off right there at the base and do away with that, and cut a bunch of it back, thin it down some. It's probably overburdened with too much growth for its own root system. I don't know. That was a lamb's ear. A couple days back, they were in bright purple. You know, they are part of the thistle group, and it was bright and flourishing, and it had covered in butterflies. So one thing about those I like is that they get covered in butterflies. I've been fighting sandburrs here for a long time. Fortunately, I've had fewer and fewer of them. There's still a few around. I hand-picked them because A, spraying would kill off everything else, and B, it wouldn't get the seeds out of the ground. So I pick them and put them in that trash can so that they decay. And if any seeds sprout in there, I just kill them off in there. The hazelnuts are still alive, and nothing remarkable to say about them. I got a very late bloom. It's a small one, so it's doing what I call second spring. Yellow coneflower decided to come up just this past week, and it's acting like it's spring, even though it's fall. So I always find that interesting. It happens quite frequently around here. Of course, the verbena is still flowering, not super aggressively, but it's flowering here and there, again, during cool weather. The second wave of the verbena is never as enthusiastic as the first, unfortunately. I had Sugar over here while I was having her recover from whatever was killing her. And it seems to have grown back pretty good, considering the fact that she had it down to bare dirt, because we've been blessed with some nice, soft, gentle rain lately. So that area is kind of regrown up some. And although also I have to go through here, it's the same place I have to go through to check for sandburrs, because this area right here, and then right there behind the motorhome and this blue truck, through that area right there, are where it often produces the most sandburrs. They've been swarmed here before, so I'm not out of the woods yet. I ashed this. The rain's already washed the ash back into the ground, but this peach is very happy, all things considered, considering how much the critters have been chewing on it. It's still growing. It might grow all the way to late fall. The best I can tell, the Rose of Sharon has fully finished blooming for the year. I think it's completely done its thing. Of course, all the berry vines over here, ones that the goats haven't eaten when they got out, are doing their thing, storing up food. There's a nice thick cluster of asters. These are really nice and dense. You don't usually see them that thick. That's neat. It'd be nice if there were just swarms of them, but that's all we got. These last couple of years, the flowers have been in decline numerically. Variety, they've still been pretty good. That's like in the morning, there's the dayflower. The spring grasses are already sprouting now that the weather's cooled off. It's some kind of wild oat. The porcelain berry has not only gone completely ripe, but its seeds are already falling off. Nobody will pick them. There's not enough, and they don't taste very good. They don't taste like anything, really. I think I'm back down to one blackberry plant because I think all the potted ones have died. Uh-oh. Well, I just found out I was wrong about my sandbird problem. I just walked through one somewhere. So now I've got sandbirds to dispose of. I don't know where the main plant is. I'll just, later on, I will have to just go in there and patrol again. See, there's some more sandbird plants I picked up. They're tenacious and they're just coming out, so I'll just have to keep being more tenacious than them. Over here, I've been working on my fence issues. Mom's car is at the shop and dealership she decided to send it to, and it's supposed to be back several days ago and it's not. So it's kind of one of those I told you so moments, but nobody's going to listen to me, so I ain't worried about it. This little persimmon tree, apparently something found its fruit close to the ground and ate it. So it made good fruit up to the point that something ate it, so what do you expect? Now, apparently that one gentian, and potentially, I'll get over here and take a look. I don't know that it's going to come back maybe totally dead. Hopefully there's some other plants over here that are gentians though. What we got here? This is another aster, really pretty one, dark, rich purple aster. Oh, that scared me. It was a grasshopper under my hand, didn't realize it. So, yeah. That's, I think it's an aster. Looks like one, or some other form of daisy or something, I'm not for sure. The other plants that might be asters over here, there's the one and a couple others. I'm not seeing any signs of flowering on them yet, so I can't be for sure if they're asters or not. It's easier for me to walk in here now that I've cut that branch up and dragged it out of here. Now we can come right up on top of the little purple flowers here that are the same general color and shape as the ironweed, but they are structured differently as they're structured on a column. Really lovely flowers. And there's quite a few of them, and I don't remember ever seeing them here before. Of course, the little butterflies and the bumblebees. I didn't realize we still had bumblebees out. That's neat. I'm trying not to disturb them, especially since I don't want to get stung. But, yeah, the flowers over here have increased in population a little bit since I cleared some of this area. Not enough that you'd say, oh man, look, it's just burgeoning with flowers. It's not, but it might someday. Who knows? Now, to update you on my fence project here. From here, I can get a better angle than I could up close, so I figured I'd come over here. Now, you see, there's timbers out there. Eventually, they'll go all the way across to the other side and tie to that tree. There are U-bolts. I don't know if I can get this to focus or not. Right there. There's U-bolts on all of the T-posts as we go. The reason I stopped where I did is because the hardware store only had 3 U-bolts. I need a minimum of 5 to have one each, and I'd like to have 3 each on each one, or at least, you know, minimum of 2. But and that cable across there both holds the wire up and provides a straight line reference so that I know where my reference line is. And what I ended up doing is I just took these tow straps, are good for 3,000 pounds roughly, and I tied them to the nearest anchor point that was both in line with and secure enough to hold the weight. Because that post that gate's in is not just set in concrete. It's set in concrete in bedrock. So that post, both of these posts on each side of this, see this rock right here that we're walking over? There's layers of it all in here. The soil's very shallow. And you see how I just took the hook and I poked some rebar through the hook. And then it just drags between the post and this brace part that's holding up the gate. And so that's where the tension's going. These are some of the cutoffs from the boards. They'll end up being used on there for double ups. They'll be redoubled to make certain there's no places where it's only one board thick. So it'll be anywhere. Anywhere you go on it, it'll be 2 boards minimum of thickness of material to resist the load. And I've got more timbers there up in the garage. They're not down here yet. That thing is right now only held together with air nails, unfortunately, because it was raining, about to be raining anyway, and I wasn't in a position where I was prepared to get in there and start doing final driving of screws and stuff. I want to do that only after I have everything fully insured to be where it needs to be. Now, 3 goats. I think I mentioned this last report, although you're probably getting it right now at the same time as this one. 3 big dark goats showed up. The billy goat's gruff. They got Harvey, Henry, and Snookums. Snookums just went back behind that piece of white sheet metal that's behind Candy in front of Fluffy Puffy there. But this one in here, that's Harvey, that's Henry. I don't know if we'll end up keeping them or if we'll end up finding their original owners and sending them back. But if somebody doesn't claim them by the time we get back from the feast, then I'm going to file a 30-day claim notice with the county to go through all the legal processes. Hey Henry, how you doing? There's your Henry. They're still kind of wild. At least wild enough that they're spooked by humans a little bit. So that one I call Henry. And then the next one over here, I've named Harvey. They're almost like twins. Then the big one, the black one, is Snookums. Yes. So I call Henry Winkler, Harvey Corman, and Snookums O'Grady. I don't know. It's just names come to me sometimes. So back to the fence that some of them have already defeated. This has been torn completely down to within a foot of the ground, and I'm still in the process of repairing. And it's a slow process. That's one of the vertical upright posts. It's going to go in right here. And then there's another one right there for number, see, this is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Franz, what you doing? Franz. Henry, what you doing? Trying to harass Daisy. Harvey, what you doing? Trying to harass anybody you can. Yeah, well, none of the boys are supposed to be in here at all, but for the moment, till I get this fence fixed, I can't really do anything about it. And I got that cable up there. I've got 4 lag screws in this tree. I'm going to have to take that one out and re-drill the hole because it's actually not going in. I don't have enough force and I don't want to damage the bolt screw. I'm going to go ahead and back it out and drill the hole deeper. That piece right there is just there to pull against, and I will probably end up taking it off against a piece of red steel. And it was there to pull against. Now I've got it pulled up to the point where the lag screws are doing the pulling now. There's no longer any load on that piece. It's just sitting there. It is giving me a point of reference for that wood up there, and all that does is literally, it was just there to keep this piece from unrolling and going crooked. That served no other purpose. But if you notice that the wire's wrapped around like that, well, when you put tension, it wants to unwrap like that. And that board, it backs up against that obstruction, and that keeps it from doing anything. These clamps, all they're doing is just holding the wire up higher than sagging. And that's not really going to be the final height on here. It's going to be pretty much right here across, generally speaking. And I'll probably have to put another blocker over here to drive to. I don't know, or else I may have to back that bolt out, that lag screw, and then drill it through. And I probably should anyway, because it makes it stronger to have some good solid anchors. I've got some other lags that I'll end up going through the other end with. And so while the T-posts are kind of holding it up while I'm working on it, they're really not strong enough. And if that tree right there fell down on here, and it is aimed this direction, it'd tear all my work right up. And then if that big tree fell down here, it too would tear my work up. So yeah, they just, I gotta get them all down, I gotta get all the fences up. Then I can move all the boys over here, separate from all the girls, where they're supposed to be. This year, it's pretty much a wasted effort because they're all pregnant, if they're going to be pregnant. Now, getting off of that, you may or may not have noticed that this field is much prettier, much greener than it was. Since we got some nice, cool, damp, rainy weather, almost like Ireland or Scotland or something. The grass, this was looking like a desert this summer, if you remember any of my other videos. So, that right there, and I've got thatching in places that were just bare dirt for before, and in other places where it started to grow, it got killed, and now it's growing again, and it'll probably get killed again, I don't know. But the seedlings here, various wild animals are digging them up, so they may or may not be able to root in very well because of whatever it is snorting around here, tearing up the soil looking for grubs. But either way, it's going to do whatever it's going to do, and I can't really help it or harm it because I don't have the right fertilizers, and I don't have any way to repel the critters that are going to tear it up. Over here, since Mr. Snookums was in here and he tore it loose, I'm just going to go ahead and take all this down. I'm going to finish that pony wall, and that is the edge of the pony wall where I got to. And I'm going to finish that off out here. It'll go that far, maybe farther. Might go as far as that T-post, I don't know. This depends, because I may have to take all this down to make that work, I don't know. But for now, I will just go to the edge of that. And to do that, I'm going to have to block this all off. Fortunately, I've got other places to string fence wire to give myself room to work. I'll start from that T-post, go over that cedar post that they've almost taken out of the ground. That cedar post will have to be replaced with one that'll go in concrete. I had that dug out about a foot deep, and it's filled up with manure and sediment, so it's got to be redug eventually so I can put in a concrete path at some point. And other things. Again, eventually this will have a concrete slab on it so that it'll hopefully be cleanable and above the water line. That was dug out a foot and a half deep over there. It's just filled back in because it just erodes off the hillside. And Harvey, what you doing? I was like, don't look at me. I don't want to be pictured. I don't want to be photographed. Harvey, what you doing? These boys are so tall. They're lanky, but they're really tall. I don't know what breed they are. They look like they're at least partly Kiko. And they've got the potential to be really big animals. So if we never find the owner and we get the official permission to keep them ourselves, I mean, we've been needing the replacement bloodline anyhow, just so we don't have inbreeding. And they look pretty much to be the right type for what we're after. So Yahweh willing, we'll end up with that, those as legally ours, once we do all the proper, go through the proper channels. On the other hand, by the time we're done going through all the proper channels, somebody may actually prove that they own them, and then we will have to turn them back in. You know, I don't, begrudge anybody if they got out, but the way they showed up, the mysterious way they showed up, it makes me think somebody actually abandoned them here. I could be wrong. you know, but I look at it this way. If you abandon that for me, hey, you abandon some more, I'll be happy. You give me all these kind of goats you got. Henry. There's a Henry. I think he's eating acorns now. Or just fallen tree leaves. I think he's eating acorns. Yeah, probably. Here's a Henry. It'd take them a while to get warmed up to humans, because I don't think wherever they were before they were handled. A lot of people don't handle their animals, and so they end up skittish and wild. See, that little motion just spooked him. All my existing goats, even now Mr. O'Malley, although he's certifiably wild, I've had him on this farm for like, what, 3, 4 years? And I've handled him a lot, so he's pretty accustomed to being handled, even though he doesn't like it. And while he's not easy to catch, he's not near as spookable as he used to be. Oh my goodness, I left my notepad out here in the rain. Oh boy. Hey, crud. Well, maybe it'll survive. I didn't realize I left it out there. In fact, the thing is, I was wondering where I put my tape measure again. And hope I haven't ruined my tape measure, because these things usually, they get wet inside, they just go all to crap. They rust up and they self-destruct. I'll have to take it apart. I say take it apart. Well, I have to clean it out. I'll put some isopropyl alcohol in it. And so I'm going to take that in the house with me, and later on I'll put some IPA in it and clean any moisture out of it. Other than that, of course, my grapevines, all that, still going along. Hopefully right after the feast I'll have them all picked. Before the feast I got to run all these in, all the house plants, because of the fact that otherwise there's a good chance they'll all get frozen. So, and then the last thing, as we go this direction, because I want to cover all the things. Now see that, see there's nice, rich, pretty grapes. Not all of them are ripe though, some are kind of green on there. You know, I may have to pick them with some green, I don't know. But they're looking beautiful, I bet they're good. Mercury, here's your Mercury, here's your Mercury. Here's your Mercury, yes, babies. Yes, you gonna eat my finger? Yeah, you're gonna eat my finger. Here's your Mercury. Dinner, dinner, dinner. Yes, snippy snap. Bismuses. Bismuses. He's like, I'm not excited. Goldilocks. Is it Goldilocks? Yes. Funny thing about it is mercury, bismuth, and bismuth are used to process gold. Did you know that? And silver. Oh well. It's just kind of a technicality. I named them literally after minerals intentionally, since I do a lot of mining related stuff. So this jack sitting over here with this weird piece of angle iron on it, welded compound of angle iron. I brought it over here so I could lift that fence up, prop it up over there, since I haven't had a chance to get over there and fix it. It was down and they were getting out over there. This piece is just stood up here technically, and they can get over this side, but usually they don't try. This field was really nice and tall a couple weeks ago, but since all these new boys got in here, look how huge Harvey is. He is a monster. Imagine if he was muscular. Caroline. Here's a Caroline. Dilly Dell. That's mama and daughter there. And then Gretel's also a daughter of Caroline. Snookums. Here's our Snookums. Snookum's big. He's not as tall as Harvey, but he's a bit bigger, more muscular, stronger. Yes. Mocha Mamaton. I always complain I got too small of goats. Somebody says, oh, those are normal goats. It's like, no, I want big goats. I want really big goats. And so, for anybody that wonders why Hans's horns look so terrible, it's because I tried this budding them. It failed. In future, I'm not going to bother that. It just ends up making more problems. Here's your horns. Here's your horns. Here's a squishy, squishy. Squishy, squishy. He's got a sore on his head because that horn grows over. See, the horn grows over into his skin and bit a hole in him. So I've got to go and cut that chunk of horn off of there so that it doesn't cause him an infection or anything. Because it's really making a mess out of him. If you look over here, kind of hard to keep his attention. But, see, Harvey's taller than Snookums. a little scrawnier, but they make some really fine meat goats, especially if you get them fed well and get them when they're not trying to mate everybody. Grotto. See, Grotto's got that one scur on her. It grows backwards. Looks funny. She's got a backwards horn. Just happened to be that that's how it didn't disbud properly. Looks like a little bug antenna. I call her little bugs. Gretel the bugs. She's an alien spacecraft antenna. Anyhow, so yeah. All right. Now the last thing I wanted to bring up, and now hopefully the radio, the YouTube video player thingy isn't too loud and background music. We'll try not to get too close to it, make too much out of it. But so Mom's been in here helping me clean this all up in here. We're getting all this prepped both to bring in our house plants and just generally for better living. And we've gotten out here and we have completely brought in a bunch of shelves and took a bunch of stuff and cleaned it all up. I took out 24 cement blocks. No, 16 cement blocks. I've got 8 more to go, then it'll be 24 cement blocks. So underneath that rug is some more cement blocks I have to carry out. A little at a time, we're just organizing everything. The door and everything will have to be processed somewhere. There's a little bit of stands over here to put house plants on. Generally, it just makes sense out of this place. It's been pretty shambles from day one. Of course, the avocados will end up back over here, and the cabbage. My brain quit. Oh, I got me another. Gotta replant this somewhere. Maybe I'll just put it in here. What am I trying to say? Pineapples. Yeah, the pineapples will end up in there too. My spindly pear grows, dies, grows, dies, grows, dies. Keeps on growing though, so gets a little larger over time, but it loses pieces too. So yeah, a little time we're trying to make sense out of all this stuff. And well, that's pretty much. That light doesn't work, unfortunately. It quit. But that's pretty much everything that has developed since last Sabbath. So I will see you all for next Sabbath report next Sabbath.